On the second part on the influencer authenticity for the occulty hashtag, the first question was, what I share on social media, how much of it is stage versus reality? Actually, it's all reality. There's nothing for me to stage. I am not somebody who is very good at faking things, and I mean, even if I'm now talking to all of you, you can see that I'm actually very awkward and all this. It's very difficult for me to hide things. Of course, I acknowledge that it's very difficult to be 100% authentic towards everyone. First up for myself, I would say that it is how I express myself. When I have been caught a weird person for how I talk about my thoughts and feelings. And so now every time when I want to say something to anyone else, I would pause and think for some time before speaking my thoughts. In that few seconds of pausing and thinking, I would have already self-censored quite a lot of things. So how can I be 100% authentic? This leads to the second question on whether there's an element of censorship in online spaces. Definitely. I am myself a very private person, and I think whether do you consider it a good or a bad point is that when I want to share something, I want to be sure that I know at least 50% of what I am talking about to really share. And I cannot even say for certain that the things that I've read, the things that I've done are even, I'm very knowledgeable about it. So I tend to censor myself a lot. I tend not to share a lot. As you can see, the things that I shared on my own channel, they are mostly tarot things that I can share. For example, flip-throughs. As long as it doesn't ask me to share something really, really detailed about my own private practices, I don't usually share so much. So most of my practices are really, really private. My practice can be considered quite new age, and nowadays there is a negative connotation being pinned onto new age. I'm not sure if I want to show something that has so much negative connotation and ask for people to come and question me. Motivation for learning all these things is so that I can do things in private and work on what I perceive to be my own flaws and my own limiting beliefs. So this is really a personal preference. I do not really want to judge other people whether what they show online and what they don't show online. Cause myself, it's how I am in real life also. I don't often probe people on the things that they're hiding, even though sometimes I can tell very well that they're hiding some things. It's because even myself, I hide things too. And if I don't want people to pry into my own private life, why should I do the same to them? I am a very selective when it comes to the spiritual community because I really don't have time. I'm lucky not to encounter so many grifters, but I have encountered people who have really big ego. I'm not saying that ego is a bad thing because I feel that ego is essential for our survival here in this world. But I did meet a few people with big ego, and it left me with a very bad taste in my mouth. The really good thing about the community I chose to engage in, due to my lack of time, is that they're very supportive and they really do share. Even though I do not share so much, but they share so much about their own practice, notwithstanding some parts which are very private to them. They already share a lot more than I am willing to share myself. And I think that I'm very, very grateful for this. What tools are helpful to decipher misinformation, and how can we as a community prevent widespread misinformation? When it comes to using tools, I'm not really good at that, but I'll share with you what I'll do. If you played the game Police and Thief, Werewolf or Avalon, all these social games, For me, I will use my intuition. I would feel for myself how this person should act like in a normal situation, and how do they act like if they were suddenly given some role which requires them to act in another way. And I think this boils down to what is called intuition, maybe. So for myself, when it comes to trying to catch this type of people, I will use my intuition. Does this person speaks as if they are too much? Some people, I have very passionate friends, but they do not act the same way as what this person is doing. So I know for sure, perhaps this person, I do not need to trust them as much as I trust my very passionate friends. The only thing I can offer as somebody who has very little contact with grifters in the community, this is what I can think of, is using intuition. And of course it is to always not to take things at face value. When you see what is being shared, the things you need to ask yourself is, why are they sharing it this way? If I were to find information on it, how will I interpret it? Will I interpret it the same way as they did? If it's not, can this be counted as a personal gnosis? Yeah, I will ask myself a lot of questions. As a community, I think, especially for myself, I think that I need a lot of bravery and courage to speak up against other people. So I know that there are many people in the community who are really brave and point out misinformation and bad things where it is really required. But for people like me who tends not to cause conflict, it is very difficult. And I think maybe my advice for people like me is find your friends in the community and maybe ask quietly or exchange information quietly first, and get the courage to stand up. Yeah. What is my real feeling about the next question, which is about large following, is that it is not really because this person is a very knowledgeable person. I think there are many factors in play for this. The first is luck, the second is charisma, the third is how much is this person doing outreach. If you do outreach, more likely that more people are going to recognize you. To me, it doesn't mean that large following means knowledgeable. How does one maintain a balance of authenticity and content creation? Now, this is what I'm still struggling with right now. As a small creator, as somebody who doesn't like to talk, I have to stand up and talk right now because I have a tarot group that I'm in right now. This is something I am pushed towards, so it's not something that I really like, and just sitting in front of these cameras and dealing with all these sounds that you're hearing right now in the background is honestly very stressful for myself. And to face a camera here and to try to talk fluently, it is already very difficult. So I think the best way to maintain the balance, I really think that there's no formula for this. It's only really just to be yourself and commit to improving yourself